You also speak about bail reform, and so if we could, as I say, connect the dots. If you happen to have, let's say, a citizen from one of our affluent suburban communities who comes in possession, of course, of a controlled substance illegally, encounters the law, is arrested, comes before the judge and the bail system. Help us understand where you're coming from when you speak of bail reform, and more specifically cash bail, as it may apply to one of our residents who is unfortunately addicted to an opioid.
That's one of my signature issues on the campaign. Ultimately, I would like to get rid of our cash bail system. I think it has failed us. I think it's terribly, terribly unfair and in many ways immoral. I'll start with this. We all learn in civics lessons early in life that we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. In addition to that, the purpose of cash bail is supposed to be to get people to show up for court. Yet pretrial incarceration has become a cottage industry in this country. It's costing us $38 million a day nationwide, which equates to $14 billion a year. So it begs the question, why are we locking so many people up prior to a determination of guilt? And the vice is our cash bail system. So to, I guess, build on your example, if you have an addict who is caught in possession of heroin, keep in mind there are no guidelines when it comes to cash bail. So the prosecutor can request any amount and the judge can set any amount. But typically in cases like this, in low-level minor types of cases, an amount such as $500 would be set. Well, addicts don't tend to have a lot of money. So if this particular addict can't cobble together $500, he or she is going to be sent to the local house of correction, where he will sit until the case is resolved. And oftentimes, the cruel paradox is that individual will do time prior to any determination of guilt for a crime that they would never have to do time for after a determination of guilt. So what happens often is that this person will have to plead guilty to get out of jail. And that's just flat out wrong. It turns everything upside down and backwards. It's not how it's supposed to be. But we have created, through our cash bail system, veritable debtors' prisons across the Commonwealth, because people who are impoverished and who are charged with minor crimes can't afford to bail themselves out. Like, I have proposed a system that's modeled on the federal bail system, where there is no cash bail, where only those who are deemed by a judge to be a danger to the community or have committed a serious crime and represent a serious flight risk are held prior to trial, and everybody else is not. And I think that we can save ourselves a lot of money and keep our communities safer if we were to use the federal model.
And what's in place to help that addict while they wait their day in court?
In the federal system, they have a pretrial services department, which we don't have in the state system. I mean, I think it would be great if eventually we were able to form a pretrial services department, but currently we could use the probation department to help people get treatment, to make it part of their terms of release on personal recognizance. These are offenses where people would never have to do time after a finding of guilt anyway. So it's just wrong in so many respects, and I think we could do so many more good things if people were released and we impose conditions of release, not setting them up to fail, of course, but trying to help them.